Hey folks, what is going on? It is a Friday afternoon. We're taking a lunch shift here to develop some more Bastion campaign mechanics. We're going to work on harvesting materials today. So give me a second to check in on my signal here. Make sure I'm coming through loud and clear. Give me a second to check in on that. Sounds like an affirmative. So let me go ahead and drop that volume down there real quick. We're going to grab a link here. We're going to do some fast social media updates, and then we're going to get to work. So let me distract you with my origin story while I go through that clicking process. Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and I publish them online. And I'm creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition using the 2024 mechanics, publishing the content on DMsGuild. I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. And I've been creating content on DMsGuild since 2018. Self-promotion, Sky and X Twitter. And so I'm a big fan of the old school back-me AD&D Dominion style of play, where as your characters gain power, they gain control of territories and have followers and armies and start operating at the geopolitical level. The Bastion system in the DMG 2024 is a step in the right direction, but all it really does is provide your team with a hideout that occasionally gives you free stuff. And it's all narrative in the social pillar of adventure without actually any kind of decision making or risks. So we want to reintroduce risk and decision making into the Dominion style of play using the Bastion system as the foundation for a procedurally generated campaign that is created from the orders that you issue to your Bastion, whether they succeed or fail in a skill challenge sort of success system. So, but you'll see as we go in how that works. So without further ado, let me just say, if you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notification when we're live in the future. Now, here's a bunch of books I've already created on the DMsGuild. They all have free previews, so be welcome to check those out. And if they add value to your campaign, let me know. Here's my Discord community that you're welcome to join. If you want to support me on Patreon, God bless you. Here's the document that we're using right now to develop mechanics. It is a read-only document for you guys. Once again, it's on the DMsGuild. It'll be 100% free preview to everybody to be able to review and choose if you want to implement it in your campaign or not. So we're going to use this document. I'm going to actually extract this separately in its own tab, and then we're going to extract this, the document I'm going to actually work in today, into its own tab, and then we're going to have this as backup and this as backup if we need to look at different portions of the document. So we've already determined how bastions are structured, and that they're in 5 ranks that correspond with character levels when they gain increases in proficiency bonus. You gain new ranks in your Bastion by accumulating Bastion points. Bastion points act not only as experience points, but they also act as a mana pool to expend to maintain different facilities in your Bastion, and they also act as hit points for when a Bastion is targeted by siege or sabotage. And so the Bastion houses a number of facilities that allow you to issue orders to the Bastion through the facilities, and there are 34 facilities that we're including in the book, and we're providing you with a how-to guide on building additional facilities in case there is a type of facility that you don't see the equivalent to already in this list. Like, for example, in Spelljammer, a mecha hangar bay would be an example of a facility that we don't specifically have in here that would probably be in the space somewhere between a workshop and a stable. So we don't have that in this book because that's a very niche thing to do. In the Ravnica campaign setting, a precognition center where Azorius Center psychics or diviners are predicting crimes and using ornithopters to scry different regions of the city to hunt down potential criminals in the area. That's not a specific facility that we have in here, but something that's like a blend of an observation and the spy network would be able to fulfill that role. So we'll be providing you with the means of how to build your own facilities to hit the specific notes that you want in your campaign for the type of things that you should be able to do in the bastions in your campaign. And so each of the facilities can be issued orders, and there are 7 types of orders that we describe in the system that we're taking from the Dungeon Master's Guide. And those orders are crafting, which is creating non-magical items; empower, which is creating magical items; harvesting, which is gathering materials, whether they're animal, mineral, or plant materials that can be used to craft and empower items. There's the maintain order, which is used to resolve all the economics and exchange of currency and goods and trade in the campaign without having to worry about actually doing any math in the process. The recruit order is bringing in specialists, unique monsters, sidekicks, and troops for an army. Research is gathering information, whether from dusty old books in a library or by spying on a specific location by sending out scouts. Those are both considered research. And then trade is basically as long as you can maintain a lifestyle that is wealthy enough to afford it, trade can replace any harvest, empower, or crafting orders that you may issue. Like it costs 250,000 gold to purchase a hammerhead ship in Spelljammer. That would require a 5th rank crafting check, like a DC 30, to be able to produce something so large and intricate as a hammerhead spelljamming vessel. Or you could issue the trade order to find and purchase one. You could also do auctions and stuff like that through trade. So trade can duplicate any harvesting, empower, or crafting orders, but it requires you to maintain a certain level of lifestyle to be able to afford the things that you're trading for. Like a super expensive ship, you have to have a lot of wealth. It's a 5th rank item to acquire, so you have to maintain a 5th rank of lifestyle, which is an aristocratic lifestyle that could afford a 250,000 gold ship, for instance. So it all curves together and minimizes the amount of accounting that you need to do by replacing most of that mathing with just some basic ability checks that, if you fail the ability checks, creates complications that become the seeds to new adventure hooks for your characters to go on while they troubleshoot problems that the Bastion encounters doing business. Or you could relegate it to the NPCs to resolve as a separate order, but you don't know what that order is going to be when it's randomized from the events and complications table down in the DM section. So right now we're just going through and resolving the mechanics of resolving each type of order. So last night on stream, episode 10, we resolved both the craft and empower orders and looked at all the language for the different facilities that offer craft and empower as options. And the next on the the next item on our list of orders that needs to be resolved is harvest. So let's drop. I don't anticipate this requiring a lot of time, which is good news because we're only on a lunch shift. We don't have a lot of time today, but we at least get to push the ball forward a little bit today. For people that are interested in this content, I stream game design like this on Mondays and Thursday nights, like last night, Tuesday and Friday lunchtimes, like right now, and then Monday through Friday in the morning, I do all the illustrations and paintings for the books that I publish. And again, you can check out the list of books down below. Virtually all of them, all the books I actually publish under my own name, they all have my own art and all my own design work and all my own playtesting. So check that stuff out and let me know what you think. So Harvest. Now the only 2 facilities that utilize the Harvest order is a garden and settlements. Settlements is a special type of facility where a garden is inside of your bastion. It's a garden, but a settlement is outside of and surrounds your bastion. So if you have a fortress as your bastion and you have a settlement, that settlement could be anywhere from 1 to 250 miles in size, depending on the rank of the settlement that you've acquired for your bastion. Like a 5th rank bastion, like a decked out palace with magical enchantments, bristling with armaments, that could be a 5th rank bastion, but it could be on a 1st rank settlement where it's just like the surrounding mile of area, just a very small territory that it's on. But you could also have, like, Waterdeep has hundreds of miles of reach because of a 2 million person population. It's massive. So there's a scaling difference in settlements, which we'll be getting to, if not Monday, by Thursday next week. So the harvest order requires that you have a settlement, and so you can gather materials for crafting non-magical items or empowering magic items. There are 3 types of materials that can be harvested: animal, mineral, and plant. And you can see Appendix A below for the list of materials required to create an item. And just to refresh people's memories on what that looks like, again, this document is linked down below. It's read-only for you, but the whole thing will be available once it publishes. So you can see here, like adventuring gear, for instance. Alchemical fire. It's a common magic item because it costs less than 100 gold to make it. And it requires either plant or mineral materials to create the fire. And you can make it in either a smithy or a laboratory. It's like pitch or like phosphorus or any other, or like fire beetle glands. Like if the DM decided, you could include animal fire beetle glands as a material you could use to create alchemical fire. So this really allows the harvesting gameplay. Like, characters can perform a harvesting action while exploring, like in hex crawl or in a dungeon after you kill monsters. They could attempt to harvest to see what type of materials they can gain from the creatures that they defeated or the unusual environment that they're exploring. They could pick up a material, and then from that material they can look like, what can we make with that material? And then the DM, the players, can look at the list and decide what they want to build from it. Otherwise, all the items that can be made in the basic rules of 2024 are listed in this appendix with its value. This should actually say value. Common is 100 gold. So there's common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary. And those corresponding gold values are 100 gold, 400 gold, 4,000 gold, 40,000 gold, 200,000 gold or more. So those are your 5 ranks of value in materials. Like a hammerhead ship in Spelljammer that costs 250,000 gold to acquire. That would be a legendary 5th rank item to either craft or acquire through trade. And the DCs, the difficulty class, the target numbers you're rolling on your ability checks, is also based on the rank 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So if you want to acquire a mineral to make a legendary magic item, you're going to have to perform a harvest check at a location that allows you to harvest mineral materials, and the difficulty is a 30. If you fail the D20 test to acquire the material, it doesn't mean that the material is not available necessarily. It just means a complication arose that's preventing you from successfully harvesting that material. And that complication can either be an adventure that the characters can go on, and when they finish the adventure, they resolve the complication and can proceed with the harvesting task as planned. Or if your characters are too busy to deal with it, you could relegate that as an additional order, but you don't necessarily know what order is going to be required to resolve the complication. That is determined by the complication generator in the DM section at the end of the book. So, having said that, looking at the harvest orders, again, it's the the specific materials required is decided by the DM and players, as appropriate for the campaign. So you don't have to hem and haw over, like, do we need like a certain type of mushroom to be able to make this poison or not? If you find a mushroom that fits like Death Wheeze poison, then maybe there's a Death Wheeze mushroom out there that the poison's named after. But if it's a third rank poison and you have third rank organic like plant material that's available to your Bastion, then you can just simply say that Death Wheeze is among the materials that you've acquired. Since I have that resource, since I have that material available, it's the proper rank that I need, I can go ahead and now craft Death Wheeze poison. So you want to establish access to materials. And again, you can get that material either through harvesting the material yourself through a settlement, or in some cases a garden, or you can acquire it through trade. So trade requires that you maintain a lifestyle equal to the rank of the materials that you need, while having a settlement that can harvest the material directly doesn't require any lifestyle at all. It could be really difficult to hit a DC 30 on your lifestyle, to have this aristocratic massive money, massive wallet for you to be able to invest in all this exotic materials. It might be easier for you to just simply get access to a settlement, make a get ownership of a settlement, and then you issue the order yourself to gather that material, and still be able to maintain like a poor lifestyle for the people that are gathering that material. If you want to trade for it, you have to maintain a lavish lifestyle to afford that exotic material. So there's advantages in either one, and depending on how much your DM wants to lean into settlements as part of your campaign, your character's going to different types of settlement that have access to different types of material can be valuable. If I know, like, each settlement has a rank, and that settlement can only produce materials equal to its own rank. So if you know that you're going to want to have access to 4th rank animal materials eventually, you're going to need to locate a settlement that's 4th rank, basically a city that has access to this high rank material that you'll then be able to establish a pipeline of access to for when you start producing items that require that material. Your DM can just hand wave this stuff, or you could really deep dive into the geopolitics of, we need to do favors for this community because we weren't able to successfully get access to that material. We now have to have our characters go on an adventure to do favors for the people in charge until we've won their favor to grant us access to the material. And that is the essence of what complications are. If you fail the die roll, your characters get involved to resolve the situation personally themselves. So that's the idea. So that's how you frame a Bastion campaign, by deciding what you want to do, and then when things start to go wrong, your characters activate to fix those problems. In the meantime, those characters could just be spending downtime in the Bastion, and depending on what facilities you have access to, there's different types of downtime activities they can participate in while they wait for the next adventure to activate. Or naturally, like adventurers, they could be going on a personal quest to find their lost dad, or to avenge the death of their sister at college, or whatever your adventure quests are as a character. These Bastion complications can get threaded into the story that you're running through your campaign normally. And if you're lucky or have a clever DM, you can see how the complications that arise in your Bastion can connect to the backstory or plot lines that are already going inside of your campaign, to make the Bastion integrate in with the campaign of your characters and help drive the story more by integrating a geopolitical world perspective about your characters' activities. Hey, what's going on? Adam Schwartz. The alarm was, I have an alarm that goes off every 20 minutes, and that helps because I'm on my lunch break. So I've got an hour lunch, and that was telling me that the first 20 minutes of my lunch have been expended. So I've got another 40 minutes to go. When I'm doing artwork in the morning, that helps make sure that I stay on track so that I can finish up my coffee and my artwork in the morning to go to my day job. And then in the evenings, when I'm doing long form design like this on Mondays and Thursdays, the 20-minute timer helps make sure that I don't fall down a rabbit hole too deeply and end up burning an hour of time on a tangent that really wasn't productive. We just had an alarm pop. That tells me I should probably wrap up all my preamble and actually get to work while I still have time. Thanks for asking, man. I try to organize my time a lot because I have to, what's the word? There's a word for this, and I can't think of what it is. But it's I have to isolate different tasks from each other. Compartmentalize. I compartmentalize the activity I'm doing on screen from the things that I'm thinking about, from the things that are going on in my life around me, and a 20-minute timer helps me compartmentalize things like that. So harvest. So you can gather materials for crafting non-magical items or empowering magic items. There are 3 types of materials that can be harvested: animals, minerals, and plants. Appendix A, which we just looked at below for the see Appendix A below for the list of materials required to create an item. And the specific material required is decided by the DM and players as appropriate for the campaign. The value of items that can be crafted or empowered by the material harvested is limited by the rank of the facility, because although settlements is the default, like we could use a garden to harvest materials as well. The rank of the facility that is harvesting the material. And a fun side an aspect of this system is, since the bastion points are used to purchase and upgrade different facilities in your bastion, if your bastion is attacked either through siege or sabotage, it damages your bastion. The bastion points act as experience points for gaining levels in your bastion. It acts as a mana pool that you expend to basically maintain different facilities within your bastion, and it acts as your hit points. It's actually a very Numenera Cypher system sort of approach. In the Cypher system, if I want to cast Fireball, it might cost me like 3 points of will. But if I get attacked by a Psychic Shambler, that Shambler might do D6 will damage to my character. So while my will is damaged by casting spells, it can also be damaged by different types of creatures or effects or hazards in the game. So this is very much a reflection of that, in that those bastion points act as, you have to have X amount of bastion points to upgrade your facility from 1 to 5, and each your bastion, and then each facility in the bastion can use those points to upgrade the facilities up to the rank of the bastion. And then if you are sabotaged or under siege, when the bastion is attacked, you lose X amount of bastion points. And if it's sabotage, the attacker gets to choose how those points are taken away from the bastion. If it's just a general siege, the defender gets to decide what they lose. So if you have a 3rd rank bastion with a 2nd rank armory, a 3rd rank workshop, and a 2nd rank barracks, that's a total of 7 points. If you take like say 5 points of damage, you could lose your smithy and your workshop, your bastion, your barracks and your smithy, and then lose 1 point from your workshop, or you could lose both points from your smithy, all 3 points from your workshop, but your barracks haven't been touched. And as you take bastion points away from a facility, it gets downgraded, so it can't do as much because it's damaged. You then have to spend an order to repair the bastion. So if you can't clear out the siege each turn, you're going to get attacked, and then you're going to repair the place, and you're going to get attacked again, and you're going to repair the place. You're at this standoff. Your characters need to get involved to break the stalemate and get rid of the sieging army that's attacking your bastion, for instance. Or you could recruit a counter force and send them out to attack the army the same way the army is attacking your bastion. armies are a separate type of bastions, kind of like how settlements are a sort of bastion as well. When you recruit soldiers, you can invest bastion points into the army and then mobilize the army to go off and attack a settlement or a bastion. And while they do, they are whittling down the bastion points from the target bastion that you are attacking. And if you weave in the plunder action as a separate action that's attached to attacking, when you attack, you can steal resources from the thing that you're attacking, limited by your rank. Whatever rank it is of your army, that's the maximum amount of points that they can steal from a target bastion. But an army permanently destroys bastion points, maintaining itself, unless you establish a supply caravan that can continuously send materials to the army through a bastion that has access to a settlement that can provide materials and resources, which we're outlining in the conflicts section of this document. So it acts as a crafting manual for non-magical and magical items. It provides an economic system that's only a die roll to resolve. It helps explain how different settlements, communities, and different guilds, organizations, and political powers can operate underneath the same structure, the same 5e mechanical structure. It's pretty all in one. So, which is how I like to build things. I dive deep into a specific mechanical system so that it has universe, like you can apply it to any campaign that you want to run and can potentially improve the depth and experience, narrative, and mechanics that you have available in that game to explain how your game world works. Linked down below are a bunch of books. The Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document that produces is a deep dive into how to integrate wild space, astral sea, and ships into the 5e game engine for combat and exploration on a ship. The Color Magic Spell Point Variant Rule System is a deep dive into alternate magic systems to use the Magic the Gathering Color Mana system instead of the Vancian spell slots and 8 schools of magic that's generic to the D&D, because Color Magic is more descriptive and embraces character empowerment more than the 8 schools, because the 8 schools are just kind of hanging out there. So when I build things, it's designed to delve into your 5e game and add value to any kind of campaign that you run with it. So the value of items that can be crafted or empowered by the material harvested is limited by the rank of facility that is harvesting the material. So settlement, let's go with facility rank. Facility rank, value of the items, also known as the rarity of material. The harvest DC, and the duration of time needed to harvest the material. So a higher rank material generally takes longer to harvest. The lower the rank, the quicker it is, the easier it is to get access to it. Week, month, season. A bastion turn is typically a week. So like it'd be one bastion turn, you can acquire the materials needed to make common magic items or common anything that's 100 gold pieces in value or less. And a second rank facility can do the same for uncommon items, but once you get up into rare, very rare, legendary, it takes longer. 4 weeks or 4 bastion turns for rare and very rare material, and a season is 3 months, so it's basically 12 or 13 bastion turns required to get those materials if you don't already have access to them somehow. So that's when trade might, like if you're in a hurry, trade comes in handy, but you have to have a really high lifestyle to be able to afford the trade in the first place. So this is a slower burn. So for a longer win campaign, you can just fast forward through a number of bastion turns for those 13 weeks to go by, and that gives the DM a chance to have all the NPCs and enemies and rival bastions and organizations to advance their causes. So once you have the materials that you need to make the thing that you wanted to make, the world is progressing with you in a progressively generated sort of world events scenario. So settlement rank, let's go with facility rank. Facility rank is the rank of settlement or facilities or settlement where the material can be harvested as detailed in settlements. Let's see. Be harvested. Period. See settlements below. Value of item, the maximum value of a non-magical item crafted from the harvested materials. For example, a bedroll costs less than 100 gold pieces, so the amount of material harvested to craft the bedroll is within the means of a first rank facility that can harvest plant material. Is a bedroll costs less than 100 gold pieces and requires plant materials to create. So the amount of materials harvested to craft the bedroll is within the means of a first rank facility that can harvest plant material. There you go. Rarity of material indicates the quality or exotic nature of material required to create a magical item. For example, if creating a rare magical sword requires an exotic alloy, a third rank facility harvesting mineral material can potentially can provide the required materials. Harvesting minerals. I don't have to be redundant with the word materials. Harvesting minerals can provide the required material. Order D, harvest DC. Harvest DC. When issuing an order to harvest materials from the facility, roll a Bastion check with the DC as listed for the value of rarity of material required up to the settlement's rank. You can ignore that. It'll go away in a moment. Let's see. Value of items, rarity material, harvest DC. That's the skinny of it. So that's how harvesting works. Let me go ahead and flip over here. And let's see. Let's go down to our facilities. That'll go away in a moment. I promise you. Thank you. Let's see. So now we're going to go through and we're going to look for anything that has something to do with harvesting. I think there's only the garden and settlements that actually have the harvesting order attached to it. Let's verify if that's true. Again, I want to make sure I'm paying attention here. Craft and power, empower order, craft and empower, trade order, recruit order for the barracks. Crypt has the recruit order. You can issue the recruit order to animate skeletons. That should probably be empower. We'll put a question mark under that. Demiplane doesn't issue orders, it facilitates them. Unique orders in the gaming hall is for trade. Here we go, garden, harvest. You can issue the harvest order. You can issue the harvest order to gather plant materials for crafting items. That makes sense. It's a garden. You can craft plant materials. What else? Craft and power, recruit and trade, craft and empower, empower and research, recruit, research, recruit, craft and research. Here we go, harvest, reliquary. You can issue a harvest order unique to, you can issue the harvest order, to create a talisman that replaces the material components for arcane, divine, or druidic spellcasting as determined by the rank of the bastion. Rank We'll go with facility, rank, and spell level. Yeah, that makes sense. So material components are generally oddball materials, and like bat guano or spider silk or a gem. This allows you to, instead of having to hunt down those specific items, if you have a reliquary, it can just simply produce the material components that you need using the harvesting, making a harvest check. Which is an ability check hitting the target DC. So we have facility rank, spell level, and harvest DC. And 1 through 5, it all follows the same format. Rank 1 is DC 10, rank 2 is DC 15, rank 3 is DC 20, rank 4 is DC 25, and rank 5 is DC 30. This is the bounded accuracy curve of the 5e game engine. Generally, if it takes less than a 10, it's not worth making a check for. You're just gonna succeed. But in the game, there shouldn't be anything that generally exceeds a DC 30. Like on concentration checks when taking damage, the concentration DC caps at 30, which is half of 60 hit points of damage that you take in a single instance. So the game has a hard cap generally of DC 30. Variant rules, homebrew rules and stuff could break that, but with our game design, we're trying to stay within the tenets and guidelines of how the 5e24 game system works, hence 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5. So that's our harvest order there. So let's include, hold on, that is the reliquary. So harvest is garden, reliquary, settlement. Let's see. Because generally you generally don't have to make things as components. Components are general, like magic like material components for spells are generally very raw material, which is why we're classifying it as harvest instead of empowering or crafting, because generally it's just something you have to go find. Like good berries requires berries that you're going to have to forage or grow yourself to have access to. Sancristy has crafting and empowering. Sanctuary has crafting and empower. Scriptorum has craft and empower. Settlement, harvest. You can issue the harvest order to acquire animal, mineral, and plant materials for crafting and empowering equal to the rank of the facility. Smithy has craft, like you can see, like here in the smithy, one of the facility benefits in the smithy is when issuing a harvest order to acquire mineral materials, you can roll an additional bastion die equal to the rank of the facility. So when you're making a bastion check to see if you can hit this DC 30 for that 5th rank material that you need to make that legendary item, you're going to roll a D20. That's my timer, so I've got 20 minutes left. You gotta roll a d20 plus the rank of the bastion, that is harvesting the material, plus the rank of the facility that's harvesting. So like if it's a 3rd rank settlement that has a plantation, or in this instance like a mine, for the sake of a smithy, let's say you've got like a 3rd rank, you found an iron mine, right? It's a 3rd rank iron mine that you're operating out of. So it's a DC 15 to extract those resources. You've got a 3rd rank bastion, which is going to be a D20 plus 3, and the settlement that you're extracting the ore from, that's going to be a 3rd rank facility. So the scaling DC for facilities is Looking here again real quick to remind everyone. A first rank facility rolls a D4. Second rank is a D6, D8, D10, D12. This is just the proficiency dice variant rule in the 2014 DMG. So instead of having a static proficiency bonus when you make a check of some sort that you're proficient with, instead it's a variable. And so for first level, you've got a +2, it's a D6. At fifth level, it's a +3, so it becomes a D6. You see how that is? At 17th level, it's a +6 proficiency bonus, it becomes a D12. The die roll here for your facility is representing how well your hirelings are working together to achieve the order that has been issued to them. So in the case of our iron mine, trying to acquire third rank materials for your rare magic item that you need to build, like a sword or something, then it's going to be a D20 +3 for the bastion, plus say it's third rank settlement extracting the ore. That's going to be a D8. So it's D20 +3 plus D8. But the smithy here, let's say you have a second rank smithy. So the facility benefits is when issuing a harvest order to acquire mineral materials, you can roll an additional bastion die equal to the rank of the smithy. So if the smithy is second rank, it's going to be a D6. So you would roll a D20 +3 from the bastion, plus 1D8 from the settlement, and then plus 1D6 from the smithy, but you don't add the D8 and the D6. Instead, you take the best result of the two. So if you rolled a 2 on the D8 and a 5 on the D6, you'll get rid of the 2 and you'll keep the 5, and say you rolled a 10 on the D20. So it'd be a 10 plus the 5 from the smithy's extra die plus the 3. You just got a DC 18. You only needed a 15 to extract ore of a high enough value that you can make the rare magic, like magic sword, like a flame blade or whatever. A rare magic item. You now have material from that mine that is sufficient in rarity to create a rare magic item. Assuming that you have the plans necessary to make it, either by having an artificer that has chosen to have the magical plans for making this rare magic sword that you want, or by research, using the research order, like say in a arcane study, or as you can see here, a smithy can be issued the empower order. If you're harvesting mineral materials, the smithy lets you roll 2 dice, keep the best one, and add it to your results. But it can be directly issued the order to create magic items, of which includes weapons. So that means since I can create magic weapons here, that means I can also issue a research order to the smithy to figure out how to make a rare value magic item. And if the roll is successful, you create magical plans that once you get the material that you need, you can now have the material, you now have the plans, you can now issue the empower order to actually create that weapon. And every time, so that means you have to make a die roll for research, a die roll for gathering the materials, and a die roll for actually creating the weapon. All three of those are 3 separate die rolls, and they all require a DC 15 because this is all the rare level of magic items. And on a scale of 1 to 5, you've got common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary. So third rank, that is rare. Sorry, it's not 15, it's a DC 20. Holy shit, it's a DC 20. So if I rolled a 10 plus 3 and then got a 5 on my D6, I actually failed the roll. That was only an 18. I'm sorry, I was mistaken. Rare is a DC 20. I just failed my die roll. So that means I now have a complication in gathering the material that I need from this iron mine to be able to proceed. Excuse me for a second. There. Just go ahead. Oh, it's still going. That's obnoxious. That'll go away in a moment. I promise you. So I failed the die roll. And so now a complication occurred. Let me just take a quick tangent here because it's fun to kick down and look at complications real quick, because we're going to be working on those next week. So this will give you a reason to come back. We got sieges and sabotage. Let's skip past that and let's actually go down to Bastion events and complications. So we're harvesting material. Complications. So There's 7 different orders, and you can't solve a problem with the same sort of order. So in this instance, the complication, we were attempting to harvest material from an iron mine that we can make a magic sword with, and we failed the roll, so we have a complication. As you can see here, the harvest order doesn't have a result for harvesting complications. So let's instead roll a d6 just for the fun of it. Let's roll a d6. No. I rolled a 1. So the result is 1. Equipment required to harvest material is damaged or sabotaged by a creature, weather, or a rival. So I could either issue the craft order to repair and replace the equipment, which isn't very exciting. Like if my characters aren't interested in an adventure involving this iron mine, if they got other things that are going on, but this complication came up anyway, they could then issue a second order to the Bastion to go fix the problem. And the difficulty of the problem will also be a 20. And they already had a problem hitting DC 20, so it's shaky whether they're going to succeed or not. But they would make a craft check through their Bastion, so if they have any facilities that grant bonuses to the craft order, then they'll be able to roll multiple dice to see if they can hit that DC 20 or not. If they fail, they'll create an additional complication on top of what they've already not resolved. But if they succeed at the check, the complication goes away. So they could either issue the craft order to repair and replace the equipment needed to harvest the material they want in the mine that they're in, or you can create an adventure to discover the source of damage or sabotage to prevent more complications. So this now becomes an adventure of investigating what happened in the mine, who got hurt, what got damaged. I can use investigation to look at the damage of the equipment. My background has me, I have a smithy background, so I can get an idea of what may have damaged this, so I'll get advantage on my roll. And now you're just doing normal adventure stuff. Looks like looks like bites were taken out of the gears in this equipment, so something that's capable of eating metal has damaged this equipment, and it must be inside of this mining complex someplace. That could mean like there's a Zorn in there. There could be like a Galabdur. There could be rust monsters that are running around. Depending on the level of your characters is going to determine the level of threat. Or it could be eco-terrorists that maybe this mine that you're in, maybe it's butting up against sacred land to an earth elemental cult. And they're offended by you digging into the mine, and they've given multiple warnings in the past that the people that run the settlement have chosen to ignore, and you just aren't aware of it. So now there's a problem, and when you show up and you see the damaged equipment, it's like there's something weird going on with this. After some adventurous investigation, you discover that there is a Darrow community underneath this mine that has recently been broken into, and they've been trying to push the miners away from the material, because once you get down into the Underdark, that's where the rank 3 material is at that you need to be able to make your magic sword. So now you need to do something with those Darrow so you can get access to the enchanted ore needed to make your magic sword. You can either create a truce with the Darrow and somehow set them up as a new ally that has their community as their own bastion, and now you can utilize that Darrow community to create this pipeline of magical material for you to be able to make more magic items with in the future. That creates more adventure hooks for you to delve deeper into the Underdark. Or you could get rid of all of them and just claim that facility for your own. And in the process of killing off the entire Darrow population, you could claim the resources from their community, convert them into Bastion points, and strengthen the mining community, and take some of the Bastion points for yourself as loot to enhance your Bastion as a reward. Instead of, I'm 7th level, me getting like 9,000 gold might be difficult for me as a DM to say where would those 9,000 gold pieces come from in this community. Instead, it's, yeah, they've got like 9 points. They've got 9 Bastion points in this facility that are second rank. Each Bastion point at second rank is worth 1,000 gold apiece. So between you and the settlement, you're breaking up those points. Like you take 5 of them, you give 4 to the settlement. The settlement can then use those points to enhance some of their mining operation and gain permanent access to that deeper burrow of that Darrow. And now they've upgraded themselves to like maybe 4th rank as a settlement that's now extracting ore from the earth in this enchanted Underdark. But that opens the door to new types of adventure down further into the Underdark, because as you clear out, you didn't know, the Darrow were keeping Drugar at bay, and now that the Darrow are gone, Drugar are coming up, and they want to raid and take control of the settlement that's mining with like great hostility. So now you're under siege from a Darrow army bubbling up from the Underdark, and now you need to raise an army to put down the Durgar threat, or as saboteurs, you send in your adventuring characters to like take out the chieftain or whoever it is that's made these decisions to attack your settlement. You see how that can cascade into an action and consequence. It's a progressively generated campaign, kind of like a hex crawl, where you don't necessarily know what's going to be in the next hex. So you venture into that next hex and start exploring, and you find what's in there, and you see what's useful here, what can I exploit, what can I make use of, and your adventure progresses from there. In a Bastion campaign set up in this format, each Bastion turn is like moving into another hex. You could literally move into another hex during the next Bastion turn to do both location and time-based adventuring. But every time you issue orders and there's a success or failure, it sets your characters up to have another adventure hook that glues them and digs them further into the geopolitics of the campaign world where they've built their Bastion, and they're integrating and making deals with these different settlements. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. So we'll be continuing to explore those ideas in this document, and as we continue to build the book, and when we get into doing the artwork for this book in the morning, we're going to just dive deep into this and just play with the idea for probably the next 9 months for it to publish. I expect it to publish mid-next, like maybe April or May 2026. Yeah. It's going to take a while, but good stuff takes a while, which is why I don't mind sharing the playtest documents so you guys can see what's coming down the pipe. And if you think this style of campaign could be fun for you to run, you can join my Discord community. It's free to access it. It's linked down below. Jump on board when you have specific questions that can't be answered in this document directly. I am happy to help you, because the more people that are looking at this and playing with it, the more input we can get to make sure that everything locks down solid and it's fun to play. I've been using this system in a Spelljammer Eberron campaign with my home table every week for the past 9-10 months at this point. And it's been a blast. It's been an absolute blast. So I'm really confident in the system in general, but having more eyes on it is always helpful. So as you please. So that's how the system works. That's how the Harvest Order works. And just to tap back here real quick, we're looking at any additional harvest orders that can be issued. And that's looking like a negative so far. Teleportation Circle, Theater, Recruit Order, Craft and Power and Recruit Order. Yeah, that's it. So Harvest, really simple. Like, it's a very simple system, but because it deals with materials, both animal, mineral, and plant, it's the narrative of what those materials are and where they're coming from that really embellishes your campaign. Like, it's such a simple, it's like a very simple mechanic compared to almost anything else. But it's packed full of narrative flavor, so it's really intrinsic. But that's all we need to do for the Harvest Order. So when we come back on Monday, so we do game design, and my hours, my lunch shift is almost up, so this is really well timed. I do 2 to 4 hour shifts on Monday and Thursday night, including next week. I do lunch shifts like this for an hour on Tuesdays and Fridays, like today. That's when we do game design, and all the game design we're doing right now is for the Bastion campaign to make sure that it is simplified and self-referencing and a closed loop of logic so it works. And in the mornings, Monday through Friday, for about an hour and a half or so, we do artwork for whatever book is next. And the next book that will be published on the DMsGuild is Crystals of Mabar, which is an Eberron adventure in Karnath, fighting necromancers, undead, and demons in the Karnwood in the nation of Karnath on the continent of Corvair. We've been doing all the artwork, all the maps, all the token assets, all the things that go into the assets of running the adventure, as well as all the illustrations in the actual adventure to give you the flavor and tone and visuals and the atmosphere of the adventure. So that's what we do in the mornings, artwork, and then in the evenings and at lunchtime, we do game design for books that we will eventually be doing artwork for. And then on my Discord channel, typically on Saturday mornings, we run playtests. And if you've been around my channel for a while, you can check out the martial power system that we have a massive playlist for rebuilding the Book of Nine Swords from 3rd edition for use in 5th edition, using the color magic paradigm of mana as our fuel source so that barbarians, fighters, rogues, monks all have basically a half-casting system that integrates with the character class features and subclasses from 2024 to complement spell casting of the half-casters and full-casters. So, but that's all my spiel. So, hey, Steve, it's good to see you. I'm just about to check out. I'm just doing my wind-up, my wind-down, as it were, to say basically thanks to everybody that's been checking this stuff out. I would love if people are interested in this, like, subscribe, and just to check in occasionally. Be welcome to ask questions and shoot the shit with me, especially in the mornings when I'm doing artwork. I generally don't have to think in the morning about what I'm doing. So if people have questions about stuff, it's a great opportunity to ask me anything. I can dive into all sorts of tangentials about, like, how do I run games, or like what does 20th level gameplay look like, or how do I integrate this different system, or how would I imagine a Modron march as a campaign theme, for instance, or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But mornings are good for that because my brain is, the less I think about the art, the better I do. So I like the conversations in the morning. Game design like this, I typically have a very specific agenda to work through a mechanical challenge for me to create solutions for. And I just do this all live because the goal of the channel is to help reduce my isolation and loneliness, because art is lonely. But also to demonstrate to the general population and at large what kind of effort and tasks do you have to perform to be able to create an RPG supplement. So we do all the design, we do layouts, we do artwork, and then if you want to join my Discord, you can actually participate in the playtests as well to see the full gamut. Ultimately, at some point, probably in 2028, I'll start doing Kickstarters. And once I start doing crowdfunding stuff, this is going to be the exact same process. The big difference is going to be, this is going to be something that ideally people have decided that they'll want to purchase through Kickstarter, and they'll have all these examples of me successfully completing bold projects like this, or Spelljammer, or the color mana system, and seeing the success rate that I have in actually executing these objectives, so that you have confidence in my ability to do that. And once it's funded, actually building it here on screen with you guys as something that you specifically supported. In the meantime, if you want to support me, since this isn't a Kickstarter project, it's just a DMsGuild thing, you can go to my DMsGuild. All the books I have linked down below. Consider purchasing any that you think would add value to your campaign after you read it. Or you can toss me $1 or $5 on Patreon and become a Patreon supporter. I'm not doing a lot on Patreon right now, but I will be doing a lot of Magic the Gathering stuff. Once I update the color mana system for 2024, we are going to be deep diving with like Bloomburrow stuff and Innistrad stuff and Strixhaven stuff, and Kaladin, is it Caladan? I can't remember. It's the vaguely Byzantine artifice world that recently got a name change because of reasons. Caladan, was it Caladan? No, that's the name of the planet on Dune. Anyway, like, sub, and comment. Thanks. That's it. I'm obviously just pontificating at this point. I'm going to kick out of here. I'll be on my Discord doing playtesting tomorrow morning. Be welcome to drop in, say hi. Assuming we have enough people together to play a game, we will. Otherwise, I'll be back Monday morning doing more artwork, and Monday night to do more of this. So, night, Uncle. Later, my guys. I'll see you then. Cheers.